All right, so let's take a look at the case study homework assignment. So we have patient Myra Robertson. The premise: Myra Robertson has been admitted to the hospital and she's got hyperemesis, so she's got some vomiting going on. And she's got some medication orders. So she's got 1 liter of D5, 1/2 NS at 200 milliliters per hour for 8 hours with a drip factor of 20 drops per milliliter. And this first medication order is beautiful because they've told us, hey, you've got 1 liter it's being pumped at 200 milliliters per hour for 8 hours. So the duration of medication is supposed to last 8 hours. So this therapy goes for 8 hours. And I mean, if we look at it, if I rewrite it like this, I've got 1,000 milliliters at 200 milliliters per hour. Well, this is only going to last me about 5 hours, 200 milliliters per hour. So 1 hour goes by, that's 200 milliliters. A second hour goes by, that's another 200 milliliters. A third hour goes by, and I mean, I think you see where we're going with this. 4 and 5, that's 200 milliliters 5 times. That's 1,000 milliliters. So after 5 hours, this medication is finished. However, the prescriptions were in, this order is written, load up 1 liter and then give it to the patient at 200 milliliters per hour for 8 hours. Keep it going constant. So after 5 hours, at the 5-hour mark, this would finish. However, it's implied that the nurse in this case would reload with a second IV bag with the same directions, a second IV bag of 1 liter D5 1/2 NS at 200 milliliters per hour to last them the last 3 hours. Okay, so I've got 8 hours. I'm basically setting up 2 IV bags. So that's our first medication order. The question for number 1 is, what is the drip rate for the first IV order? 1 liter D5 1/2 NS at 200 milliliters per hour. They were so nice, they gave us a flow rate. Okay, so we're really well set. So we have flow rate is 200 milliliters per hour. And then the drop factor they gave us was, 20 drops per ml. So I've got 20 drops per ml, I've got my drop factor, I've got my flow rate. So when I take a look at my formula for my drip rate, which they're asking for here, I've got 200 milliliters over 1 hour times my drop factor in drops per minute, or drops per milliliter. So my drop factor is 20 drops per ml, and so I just multiply across. I've got 200 times 20 is 4,000. So I've got 4,000 drops per 1 hour. Well, I need my drops in minutes, so I still have to convert this to minutes. So I've got 4,000 drops per 1 hour. Let's convert this to minutes. So how do I convert this to minutes? What's 1 hour in minutes? That's 60 minutes. So I've got 4,000 drops divided by 60 minutes gives me 66.7 drops per 66.7 drops per 1 minute. And they want our answer rounded to the nearest whole number. I can't have half a drop. So this would be written as 67 drops per minute. So my answer for this first portion is 67 drops per minute. And this is 8 hours of therapy. So this 8 hours of therapy starting at 9 p.m. I've got from 9 p.m. to 12 a.m. 9 p.m. to 12 a.m. That's 3 hours. And so I've got 5 hours left of my 8 hours. That puts me at 5 a.m. And so with this question, this part isn't hard. It starts at 9 p.m. and it lasts for 8 hours. So it ends at 5 a.m. It's not that bad. But the doozy here comes with this first part where it's like, oh, I've got 1 liter, so 1,000 milliliters running for 8 hours. And so your knee-jerk reaction might be to take 8,000 milliliters and divide it by 8 hours, but that's not the flow rate. They gave us the flow rate. We don't have to calculate the flow rate. So that's number 1. Questions do this sometimes to trick us up, to say, hey, we got you, we gave you flow rate, but also instinctively you want to calculate flow rate because we gave you volume and we gave you time. And that's the trap here. When we give this formula out, number of milliliters over number of minutes times drop factor, it's like, okay, when I plug these numbers in, it makes sense. However, we have to look at it from the perspective, from the viewpoint of flow rate times drop factor. If it's not flow rate, I can't plug it in. They did give me flow rate. My flow rate is 200 milliliters per hour. That's what I would put in. I can't put this in 1 liter over 8 hours because that's not the flow rate. They're telling me, hey, make this 1 liter at this strength, at this rate. And we want it to run for 8 hours. And it's like, okay, well, it only runs for 5. All right, put another one in. Okay. So that's our first answer. We've got 67 drops per minute at 5 a.m. Ending time.